The world is watching with bated breath as Volodymyr Zelensky, flanked by a powerful delegation of European leaders, heads into a high-stakes meeting at the White House with President Donald Trump. The gathering marks the first time Zelensky and Trump will meet since their fiery dispute at the White House earlier this year. But this time, the Ukrainian leader is not standing alone. He's bringing a formidable coalition with him. Joining Zelensky in Washington are prominent figures like NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte and newly appointed UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer. French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, Finnish President Alexander Stubb, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen are also expected, although it remains uncertain how many will participate directly in White House talks. Their presence alone signals just how grave and unconventional this wartime crisis meeting is. Rarely, if ever, in modern history have so many heads of state crossed the Atlantic on such short notice for a single cause. But here's where it gets controversial. The urgency stems from mounting anxiety among European diplomats that Trump, fresh from his summit with Vladimir Putin in Alaska, may exert heavy pressure on Zelensky to accept a peace settlement the Ukrainians view as a compromise of their sovereignty. Zelensky, notably absent from the Trump-Putin meeting, now faces speculation about what concessions the US might expect in the name of permanent peace. Trump himself has added fuel to the fire, posting online, "Big progress on Russia. Stay tuned." Yet he has steered clear of specifics, leaving allies and critics alike guessing about the real content of the recent negotiations. Reports suggest that during the Alaska talks, Trump dropped his previous call for a ceasefire and is instead advocating for a comprehensive peace deal. A dramatic shift with profound implications for Ukraine's future. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been quick to dismiss what he calls a stupid media narrative that Trump would try to strong-arm Zelensky. Still, the shadow of their last Oval Office altercation, which rapidly devolved as Trump accused Zelensky of playing with fire and gambling with World War III, lingers, straining diplomatic ties between Washington and Kyiv. Behind the scenes, European leaders have been working tirelessly to rebuild bridges and arm Zelensky with negotiating strategies that might appeal to Trump's deal-making instincts. There are even reports that Ukraine, in a bid to build goodwill, entered a minerals partnership with the US and promised payment for American weaponry. Zelensky and Trump have also shared quieter moments, like a private conversation at the Vatican, culminating in what Zelensky described as their best conversation so far during a July phone call. But as negotiations play out, the war on the ground grinds on. Russian troops have now seized nearly 20% of Ukraine since the invasion began in February 2022. Frustration with Russia's relentless assault has become palpable, even in Washington. Trump has reportedly called Putin absolutely crazy, shortened his peace timetable, and threatened Moscow with tough new sanctions if it doesn't come to the table. Just this past Sunday, Zelensky and a coalition of supportive nations, including the UK, France, and Germany, met virtually to coordinate strategy. Afterwards, President Macron announced their intent to present a united front in dealing with Trump. Yet the real bombshell came from US envoy Steve Witkoff, who revealed that Putin has agreed to robust security guarantees for Kyiv, potentially amounting to NATO-style collective defense. This is the part most people miss. Such an agreement could serve as a substitute for full NATO membership, a long-standing Russian red line. If this arrangement holds, the US and Europe would essentially pledge to protect Ukraine if attacked, akin to the powerful Article 5 protection all NATO members enjoy. But is this really a viable alternative, or just a diplomatic stopgap? Witkoff noted Russia also budged slightly on 5 fiercely contested Ukrainian regions, yet made it clear Putin still wants control over the central Donetsk and Luhansk areas, known collectively as Donbass. And this could ignite the most heated arguments yet. Should Ukraine even consider relinquishing any territory for peace, especially when the Ukrainian constitution prohibits it? Zelensky insists only direct talks involving Ukraine, Russia, and the US can even begin to address such issues, pushing back on any deals struck without Kyiv's explicit consent. Secretary of State Rubio, meanwhile, sounded a note of caution, warning that a final resolution to this devastating conflict remains distant. We're still a long ways off. These developments throw up plenty of questions. Are the security guarantees enough to satisfy Ukraine and its allies? Is the idea of a NATO-like pact for Ukraine really a breakthrough or a dangerous compromise? And most importantly, can Trump, Putin, and Zelensky actually hammer out a deal all parties can live with? Or is this just another round in a grueling diplomatic tug-of-war? What do you think? Would you support a deal that offers Ukraine security but asks them to cede territory? Or should Kyiv hold firm, no matter the cost? Let's hear your take in the comments below. This debate is sure to divide opinions.